Hey, good morning, everybody. Matt Modi here with OddsJam, here to give you my favorite DFS plays for today. Going to be looking at PrizePicks, going to be looking at Underdog, identifying profitable plays to put into a PrizePicks entry. So I get a lot of questions when I'm doing like an NBA player props video or something where people will ask, "Oh, is you're taking the over on this player? Does that mean it's a good play on PrizePicks as well?" And that's not necessarily the case. It's totally different strategy when you're putting plays in on PrizePicks versus the actual legally regulated sports books like a FanDuel and DraftKings. The reason why, when you're sports betting on the actual sports books, you're looking for an edge across the market. You're looking for discrepancies from an odds perspective. So if one sports book has something at plus 150, every other sports book has it at plus 120. That would be a good bet to make at plus 150, even though even though technically it's for plus money, which means that it has a less than 50% win percentage. That's a discrepancy you want to take advantage of. PrizePicks is entirely different. The strategy for PrizePicks, and this is going to sound like Captain Obvious, but let me explain. You're not looking for value in terms of the odds themselves. You're just looking for player props that are likely to hit. It's as simple as that. The reason why, if a sportsbook deems a player prop likely to hit, they're going to charge extra for that play. They're going to heavily juice that play, right? They're going to make it more expensive. Look at this example, and this was our first play. Jaren Jackson Jr. over 6.5 rebounds. Look at the sports books and how they price it. Minus 140, minus 138, minus 142. Every sports book that prices this is heavily favoring the over, right? Well, when you use PrizePicks, you have the same exact payout regardless of what plays you add. So every single 2-leg one is going to double your money. Every single 3-leg one is going to 4x your money. Every single, 3 plays will 4x your money. 4 plays will 9x your money. And then 5 and 6, the payout's a little different because they're flex plays, but will basically 10x to 20x your money depending on how many you hit. So you're looking for plays that are likely to hit. It's as simple as that. And when I say likely to hit, I don't mean, oh, I got a feeling Embiid's going to go off tonight, or Embiid's gone over this point total in 4 of his last 5 games, or Embiid always cooks this team, whatever. No, I mean use the sports books to tell you what player props they think are likely to hit, because all that stuff you're talking about, all those trends, models, sports books take all that stuff into account when they're pricing odds. So let the sports books tell you what plays are likely to hit, and then add those to a PrizePicks entry, right? More often than not, those plays should hit based on what the sports books are telling you, which means that more often than not, you will profit by placing enough volume of PrizePicks plays. So for this Jaren Jackson Jr. one, OddsJam is pulling lines from the sharpest sports books in the world, which is pulled into these no-vig odds here. Gives this play roughly a 54.5% chance of hitting. As you can see, all the sports books that price it in the minus 130s or minus 140s. But because we are placing this on PrizePicks, we're not paying any extra juice. So this is a valuable player prop to put into a PrizePicks entry. So this is play number 1, Jaren Jackson Jr. over 6.5 rebounds. Play number 2, we are looking at Buddy Hield to go over 3.5 made 3-pointers. So if you have access to BetRivers, this is also a good player prop to lock in individually. It's also a good play to put on PrizePicks as well. Again, same logic. Look across the board at where every other sportsbook prices this. Minus 132, minus 130, all the way up to minus 143 and minus 146. The win percentage for this one is going to be close to the previous one, just below 54.5% at 54.38%, telling you that this is a player prop that is likely to hit. It is more often than not, Buddy Hield will go over 3.5 made 3-pointers. So again, it's a good player prop to add. The sports books are telling you how likely they think he is to go over by how they're pricing it. They're making it significantly more expensive to play his over versus the under. But we're not paying any extra juice by using PrizePicks. So it's a good PrizePicks selection to have. Buddy Hield over 3.5 made 3-pointers. And then we're looking at Trae Young to go under 2.5 made 3-pointers. So 2 3-pointer markets back to back. In one case, we're taking an over. In this case, we are taking Trae Young to go under. Same logic here. Win percentage is going to be roughly 54.5%, a little bit below. And look across the board. Pinnacle at -139, BetOnline at -137, and then we see like DraftKings -135, PointsBet -130. We're not, again, I'll say this every time because it's important to understand, but we're not paying any extra juice by placing this on PrizePicks. And what I will say is when you are comparing markets, right? Like when I click into a play, it pulls up odds from every major sportsbook. There are a couple of sportsbooks you want to look out for as the sharp sportsbooks. Basically meaning these sportsbooks are consistently the best at pricing odds. I mentioned that's where these OddsJam no-vig odds come from, so it is important to understand. But the 3 main sharp ones, number 1 is Pinnacle, which is generally referred to as the sharpest sportsbook in the world. Now, Pinnacle is not the end-all, be-all. You still want to compare the other sharp ones, but it's just given the heaviest weight. Another sharp sportsbook is BetOnline. They price this one at -137. That's a good sign. So those are the 2 of the sharpest ones. And then the third one, which is given a little bit less weight, but still given weight, is DraftKings at DraftKings. In this case, they have it at -135. So if the player prop you are placing, in this case, we're looking at Trae Young under 2.5 made threes, is an outlier to these 3 main sportsbooks, that's a good sign. In this case, you just want to make sure that the 3 main sportsbooks are heavily favoring him going under, which they are. Pinnacle at -139, BetOnline at -137, DraftKings at -135. Check, check, check. It's the same case for the other 2 plays that I locked in as well. For Buddy Hield, Pinnacle at -146, BetOnline at -135, DraftKings at -140. Check, check, check. Same thing with Jaren Jackson Jr. and his rebounds prop. Pinnacle at -142, BetOnline at -137, DraftKings at -135. Check, check, check. You want to look at those 3 every single time you place a player prop bet in general, and when you're adding a play to a PrizePicks entry. So those are 3 plays that I found using the OddsJam positive expected value page. The next source or tool that I'm going to use to find plays is the OddsJam screen. So the way the OddsJam screen works is you pick a market. In this case, we're looking at player points, and it pulls up where every major sportsbook is pricing odds for this market across the entire slate of games. So we can see like from Detroit versus Minnesota all the way down to Sacramento versus Houston. It's giving odds from every major sportsbook and what they price a play at. So what we're looking for in this case is similar, but we're just looking for a discrepancy in what PrizePicks is pricing something versus every other sportsbook, right? And an easy way to do that, if you just click in here, you see like you can hide, move, whatever, set color. If you click the set color button, let's just make this one red. So confirm color. Now I can easily tell what column is PrizePicks versus every other market. And I found a really good play on Alperen Sengun to go over 14.5 points. The reason why this one's really good, look at where PrizePicks prices it compared to every other sportsbook. So Underdog, another daily fantasy sports company, prices this at 15, a half point higher. And then when we look at the regulated sportsbooks, we see odds range from 15.5, which is 1 point higher, or sportsbooks price it at 14.5, but they heavily favor it going over. Like this OddsJam line is pulled. This is Pinnacle Sportsbook. They price his total at 14.5, but they heavily favor it going over at -140 and the under at +105, as does every other major sportsbook that prices this at 14.5, -137, -130, -140, -135, or they price it a point higher at 15.5. And 1 point might not seem like that big a deal, but with totals as low as like 14.5 and 15.5, there's like a 10 to 12, maybe 8 to 12% chance that he lands at exactly 15 points. If he does that, you would have won your PrizePicks entry, and you would have lost the books that have it at 15.5, which, yeah, duh, but there's like an 8 to 12% chance. And over the course of time, you'd be shocked at how many times you lose a play just by 1 point. It's the most frustrating thing in the world. So beating the sports books by 1 point, incredibly valuable. So Alperen Sengun is a really good play to go over 14.5 points. And that's going to be it. So a couple PrizePicks entries for you guys to lock in. If you're tailing this, comment and let me know. But that's all I got. So appreciate everybody watching and have a good one.